Hello and welcome to this video. This time we are going to talk about how to pick the right yarn for your next knitting project. Initially I had a lot on the agenda. I wanted to explain to you my yarn choices for the Ahoi Bandana cowl, which will launch on Friday. That is the 22nd of September, so if you watch it a bit later, you might be lucky and it's already available. However, that wasn't the only thing. I also wanted to talk about sustainability and how to pick yarns that give you the opportunity to make a pro-planet choice. Wow, that was really positive explained. Okay. And the third one was how to substitute a yarn choice. So if the designer has something written in the knitting pattern you don't want to use or can't use for whatever reason, how do you find a yarn that works well for the knitting pattern and works as a great substitute for the yarn the designer chose? Okay, that was a bit complicated, but anyway, I think you got it. So that was a lot, and I decided to make it a bit easier, doing the step-by-step, adding my yarn choice, but kind of going very low level on the sustainability part, and do that in another video because it's really getting a bit too much. And I could talk about every fiber and transport and extra stuff that's going on with treatment and dyeing process and so on. It's honestly, it's a lot, and I feel like it's making this video too much. Basically, I want to help you to pick a good yarn for the Ahoi Bandana cowl if you want to knit it, and also give you a lot of value if you want to knit another pattern and need this kind of information. I hope this is going to be fine for you. And yeah, let's get started. And I'm trying to make one thing for this awesome yarn company who also give me yarn support, but that's not why I do it, okay? I really asked them because I love them like crazy. So have a look here. It's the Rerum Natura. They are from France, which is right around my corner. I live in Germany, so we're all in Europe together. And depending on from where you look at, this is actually a really small continent. And France is, I think, about 3 or 4 hours away from where I live. So this feels like a really good choice. And they do make a big effort to produce their yarn as sustainable as possible. And I really honor them for this. I absolutely adore working with them together on this project. I'm super grateful for their yarn support, and I love knitting with their yarn. I will definitely knit more with their yarn. Doesn't matter if they gave it to me or if I have to pay for it. Okay, so needed to get that out first, and now we are digging into the step-by-step process. Alright, so the first thing to look at if you're looking for yarn is yarn weight. I did knit this design in 3 yarn weights: fingering, sport, and kind of DK. It's a heavy DK, light worsted. And this is kind of my favorite range for bandana cowls, so I wanted to try all 3 of them again. I have other patterns that are already available in those yarn weights, and I decided to kick out fingering weight yarn and not write the pattern for it. I'm going to explain to you why. So as you can see, the sports weight does stand up beautifully. And I show you the worsted one too. There you go. And again, stands up beautifully. It's not working like that with the fingering weight yarn. It's a bit too thin. Once I lay down, drapes a lot then. I already had that problem with my prototype. I thought it might be just the yarn. And it is a lot the yarn, but this is kind of no, it's not a classic. This is a fingering weight yarn made of merino, silk and yak, superwash treated. And I feel like all of these factors go in that it doesn't do exactly what I want to. And I know some of you probably like this, but this is not what I was looking for. So that's basically why I kicked out the fingering weight yarn. Although, on another note, the fingering yarn from the Rerum Natura, which is this one, and it's called Albertine, did work better. I probably could have made it work if I wanted to get on it harder, but yeah, still not 100% what I was looking for in this case. I'm going to make another pattern with this yarn for sure. Alright, so that's the first category, yarn weight. Here's the same one. There is actually no spiel in this, okay? You really want to pick the yarn weight the knitting pattern tells you, or it won't work. It just won't work. Okay. Second category is fiber. Okay, let's get back to the sport weight. I'm going to put it on again. This sport weight version is knit in Ulysses. Oh, come on, take it. Yes, thank you. And it's a 100% merino yarn. All of the wool comes from cheap here in Europe, so it's a mix of merinos from France and merinos from Portugal. The one from Portugal are black, and you can actually see that. It's a quite beautiful mix, and there you go. There's a lot of variants in it. It does look a bit rustic, and I like that. It's a reason why I chose this yarn for the Fisherman's Rib. I feel like it's a match made in heaven. So merino is the most common fiber for hand knits for several reasons. It's really a great material to work with. It has this elasticity, memory. It feels warm in winter, rather cool in summer, although I know some of you don't believe that. But anyway, I think the most important thing is really that you can pull this up your head and it will bounce back to the original shape, and that's something you really want to have, especially in cowls or in other hand knitted items. You need to pull over your head again and off again and again and again, you know? You want to keep it in, I want this to be kept in shape. Alright, so this version, heavy DK, light-waisted, is knit in Robinson. And Robinson is made of a fiber mix of merino and recycled cotton. And when you have recycled cotton, that actually means it's recycled from fast fashion industry items, and then you always have 2 or 3% of kind of unknown fibers in it, because, you know, clothes get sewn together with threads, and there's always not 100% cotton, but whatever. So you're gonna have 2 or 3%, whatever. Nevertheless, 70% are wool and 28% are recycled cotton. So this does feel a bit different. This fiber mix is known for kind of mid-seasons, like we have now, autumn. It's not super cold, it's not super hot too either. And the other one would be spring. It does feel, I would say, a bit more like your usual clothes. I wear a lot of this classic cotton shirts, so it's not the 100% wool experience, and I think that's great for a lot of people. I hear a lot of you complaining about that wool feels too itchy and you kind of need something else around your neck. So here's your solution. Take this one. So the third yarn I tried to knit with, or I did knit with and decided not to go for, is this Albertine. And Albertine is a mix of merino and silk. So it's really beautiful. It's just not what I'm looking for this design, because the silk is giving a bit too much drape. It's great for shawls. It's not so great for cowls where you want those you want to stand up. So if you want to substitute, kind of pick the same fiber mix if possible, or at least close to it. Try to understand what the designer was looking for, depending on character. So I was looking for this memory and elasticity. I also wanted to have this kind of stable standing up. It's not only the fiber weight, but it does play a big role in it. So third point is, how is the fiber made? And in this cases, with this yarn, we are talking about how it is spun. And also know this is plied yarn. Okay, ply is, you have the fibers that kind of spun together. And if you have a strand or a thread that's spun together, and then you have a second one, then you have a 2-ply yarn. Hope that makes sense. This is a 2-ply yarn. And that's one part. How many plies are there? Are they left or right, put together? And the other thing, and I think this is much more important for you, is how is it spun? So we have here Woolen spun yarn, and the opposite of it is worsted spun yarn. So this is what's happening when they produce it. They take all the fibers and they try to make them lay together next to each other and not, being totally chaotic. If that's all they're going to do, and then spun it is Woolen spun. It still looks a bit rustic because it's not, perfectly combed. If they extra comb it and make it even more smooth and even more lying next to each other, take everything out that might there be in there. Remember, you're talking about sheep, and they did live kind of in nature before, so there are all kind of stuff going on, and sometimes you find a bit of hay in it. Not in this one, but I had another yarn. It's kind of fun, to be honest. I like it. So anyway, you won't find it in worsted spun yarn. So these look really smooth. I would also say elegant. These are more rustic. So what is good for what? That's the most important part, because in the end it doesn't matter. Of course you have to like it, but there are also some things that are good for this and that. Okay, so let's start with this one that I didn't choose. You need a Woolen spun yarn when you knit very complicated patterns like lace or cables. I think cables look great with this yarn, but it depends on how complex you want to go with it. And also, if you want it to look modern, I feel like a Woolen worsted spun yarn might be a good idea to work with. It also gives you more drape, so it's great for, again, shawls, but lace shawls are really good here. And it does have great stitch definition. Woolen spun yarns are awesome for color work, first of all, because I have a mohair yarn here. This place is really good. It still has this fibers coming out like a halo, and it is a bit like this also with the Woolen spun yarn. So what happens is you knit it and those fine hairs kind of grab each other, hold together, and make this amazing fabric. So it's more about a dense texture than having a good stitch definition. So what it also does, if it does give the stability, It's a reason why my cowls stand up is because those yarns are woolen spun. Of course, there are other ways to produce a yarn. Blow yarns, you have the Shaynet stuff. We're gonna dig into this in another video. I feel it's a bit too much for now. So if you want to make an Ahoi bandana cowl and want it to stand up, have a similar shape, similar feel to it, I would definitely go for a woolen spun yarn. So number 4 on the list is needle recommendations. So if you look on this little beautiful banderole paper thingy around your yarn, every yarn has that, there are recommended needle sizes on it, and they will also help you to kind of understand the category and get an idea about how thick or how thin the yarn is, and also how thick or how thin your needles might need to be. There's usually a range. It's driving beginners mad. It didn't drive me mad too. So if you're a beginner, let me say this. First of all, breathe. It's all good. It's fine. There's a reason for it. I know it's hard for you to understand. It's going to get better with time. So we all knit differently. That's the main reason why there's a range in it. And if you are a beginner, pick the biggest needles. So if it says 4 to 5 millimeters, pick 5 millimeters. Same goes for US. If it says 4 to 5 US, pick 5 US. The chances are high that you cramp up when you start knitting because you're still really excited and you want to get this really beautiful tight stitches. You know, I remember how that went, and that's why you knit tight, and then you need the bigger needles to make it all work and happen. Okay, little excursion to needles. Let's get to the next one. The next one will be gauge, and that's always Stockinette gauge, by the way, here on the yarn information. However, it also will give you a possibility to compare and see if your yarns might be a good match. Last but not least, and you have it here too, is yardage. So we tell you how much, how many yards or how many meters, mostly both, this ball has on how many grams. So this is a 100 gram ball, this is a 50 gram ball. And this 50 gram ball has 185 meters. Yards are pretty similar, a bit different, but pretty similar. And this 100 gram ball has 250 meters. Now, you need to look up what your pattern says, how many what's the yardage for the project. It will usually also tell you how many balls or skeins or whatever, how you can buy the original yarn that is knit with, the designer used. So for size 1, I used 1 ball of this yarn, but for size 2 or size 3, you definitely need 2. And if I'm really honest, I would like you to have a second ball even for size 1 because it was playing yarn chicken, right? You don't want that. If you're getting a bit off with the tension, and that's also something that happens quite a lot, now I'm talking about, I should tell you, it's quite normal that you are good on gauge, that your gauge is quite good at the beginning, and then you relax and you lose out. It happened to me quite a lot. And your tension changes, you know, it's getting more loosely. It's quite normal. It's totally kind of okay, depending on what you knit. It's okay for this design. You need to keep gauge until you join in the round, and then you can get a bit more loose here on the bottom. Oh my god, I should never say that, right? Get it right all the time. Or something bad will knitting police will come. No, don't worry, okay? No worries. Okay, anyway, where was I? Yeah, so, alright, yardage, yes. So, check what the pattern says, how much yardage you need, make sure you buy enough yarn, or you will be sorry. I can promise you, you will be sorry. Okay, not the last one, no, the last one is it superwash or non-superwash, and that will be a topic for the future. What the heck is superwash and why is it so bad for our environment? Let me say this, all the yarns I used are non-superwash. They didn't get that treatment that gives you the possibility to throw your knits in the washing machine. I don't feel like it's needed for a bandana cowl because I rarely wash these, and if I wash them, I'm totally fine with washing them by hand. Of course, there are other items, like I said, we're gonna get into that on another video. Nevertheless, this is another thing you might take into consideration because the superwash treatment also changes the yarn quite a lot and gives it another characteristic, so it's a good idea to kind of match that too, if possible, if it makes sense to you. Okay. So, last but not least, colors. Alright, colors. I think we need to make another video for colors too, but okay, colors. So, want to talk really quick about the color choices I made, and then I'm gonna give you some tips how you can make your color choices. So, and this is Fisherman's Rib. The bandana cowl is called Ahoi. There is the German version of Ahoi, because there's also a head in making stories. Actually, the one here behind me, that's called Moin head, and Moin is what the fisherman would say for hello here in the north of Germany. So it's a match. Yeah. And all the colors I chose are kind of connected with this idea of seafaring. I hope I said that right. So there's water, of course. My favorite color of water is a bit more teal than the classic marine blue, so I chose more teal blue. Then we have, of course, this one, this version. And I feel like all fishermen are wearing this hand-knitted sweaters, usually a bit thicker, and it's always wool white. You know, it's the undyed classic wool white. Of course, this is dyed, it's a bit more white than one naturally come from sheep, but hey, okay, it's an artist's choice. So, and the other one is this mustard yellow, and I don't know about you, but I live in Germany here, and for me, fishermen are this Viking hunks, you know, and they are big and blonde and blue-eyed, so this is their color, kind of. And yeah, last but not least, I did not grow up exactly at the sea. I did grow up in the north of Germany, but I did live for a while in Hamburg. And Hamburg is known for its trade with spices. And all the spices originally came in this, I always say this flax bag or so. So it is a natural brown. And I think this is kind of getting close to it. All right, picking your colors. So one thing I wanted to say in general, I'm going to change my bandana cowl for it, is how you can see that there is no better color choice to show off textures than white. I'm very sorry, it's just the way it is. The darker it gets, the less it shows. And also, if you have this actually beautiful hand-dyed, variegated yarn with a match up of speckles, it does hide your textures too. So nevertheless, I hope we can all agree on that Fisherman's rib is kind of like classic ribbing and more simpler texture, a bit like in the realm of Stockinette and Garter, so don't worry too much about the colors. I think this texture can take actually everything, and I thought with my test knitters, some of them knit this bandana cowl with variegated hand-dyed yarn, had a lot of colors in it, it looks beautiful. So pick whatever you like. Now, to give you some ideas what to mix. So actually both patterns are written with the possibility to knit the border in another color. Of course you can go for one color all over, or you can knit this border, which is then actually 1 by 1 ribbing, and also the tassel, if you like it, that's also optional, in another color. So what kind of combinations are great? The first thing you, in my mind, can never go wrong with is mixing two colors that are very close to each other. It's like same but different, and it always makes up a great, like a variant gradient, if you want to think about light blue and dark blue, or like a light rose and then a pink. Okay, so this second one is a bit the opposite, because that's the first idea was very subtle, right? If you want to have a big impact, like really pop, then there is no better way than to dig into color theory and pick the opposites, like green and red. Both will be very vibrant then, or orange and blue, or yellow and purple. Those are the three classics, but of course you can also, step one next to it, makes it a bit more subtle. I'm not sure if I should say that, but it also looks a bit more adult. Sophisticated is a good word. So, like orange and teal. Like orange and blue, but teal also has parts of green in it, and that will make a beautiful color combo. Photographers love it, so it's definitely great for yarn too. And yeah, I don't know. Let's stay with those for now. As you can see, it's not my favorite way to work. I don't like everything screaming. I like a bit of screaming, and that brings me to the third idea that is kind of known as neons and neutrals. So neutrals are everything between white and black, and all the grays in between. And I would say with wool, you also get this classic fibers that comes from the almond mills, like wool white or also browns. They can be, like a more brownish, dark gray or so. So all of these would be neutrals in my mind. And then you add a strong pop of color. There is nothing louder than neons. Although I have to say that neons are obviously no natural colors, and dyeing yarn with neons isn't very environmental friendly. Nevertheless, it's fun. Sorry. Okay, I still think this is also really loud. a loud color, very saturated, bright, a bit itchy, so a bit in your face. So that would be a great combo, like in neons and neutrals. Okay. Last but not least, not the colors contrast, but the other contrast, right, would be light and dark. There is no more than white and black, but nevertheless, let's pick something here. This teal with white together is also a great contrast. So if you love contrast, it's definitely a good choice for projects that are knit colorwork. Go for big difference in bright and dark. Okay, so my fellow knitter, that was it. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was helpful for you. Let's sum it up one more, because I know it was a lot, and then I hope this will help you to pick the yarn for your next knitting project, and I also hope this gave you some ideas how to knit the Ahoi Bandana cowl. Okay, so the first thing you want to make sure is that you pick a yarn in the same yarn weight category. Again, this is sport weight, and the other one is heavy DK, light worsted. Then you want to look for the fiber content and try to choose something that is close. Also understand what the designer had as an intention in mind and what yarn characteristics play into it. Again, I wanted to have this stability. I wanted to have memory, so it goes back into shape, and elasticity, so I'm able to pull it on and off over my head. This third thing is how the yarn is made, or you could also say kind of like the texture of the yarn. Is it woolen or worsted spun, or if the knitting pattern is knit in a shinette or a blown yarn, you should also try to get a yarn made in the same way. So the yarns I picked are both woolen spun, and if you want to knit an Ahoi Bandana cowl that stands up, would also be a good idea to look for woolen spun yarn. So then you will always get recommendations for yarn needle sizes and have a look at it if it's a good match. Same goes for gauge. So the gauge on your paper banderole around your yarn is always in Stockinette, and this gives you an idea if the yarn is also a good match. Last but not least, oh, that's not true, we're not at the end. Forget that part. Anyway, it's Yardage. Yardage is another pointer, and with Yardage, it is important to look at the yardage that's given in the knitting pattern, and make sure you buy enough yarn. You might not, even if you are in the same yarn category, you may not have the same. Also, yarn gets sold in 50 gram balls, in 100 gram balls, and in mini skeins, and in full skeins, and so on and so forth. So, doesn't mean you're going to get the same. Make sure you have enough yarn. Superwash treated or non-superwash is another topic. It's also a topic for another day. The yarns I chose this time are both non-superwash treated. They are natural like you get them. So now, last but not least, are colors. I think we talked a lot now about my color choices, and I gave you some ideas what you could mix and match together, what you look for. Generally, let me say this for the Ahoi Bandana cowl, everything is allowed. I can promise you no color will kill this knitting pattern. It will look good in everything. Alright, so If you like this video, please give it a like, and I would even more love to read your comments. I really enjoy those. I hope we can build up this community, so I would also like to ask you to subscribe to my channel. There will be another video. Let's talk about that one. So, first video was about how to measure your head. If you haven't seen this already, have a look at it. It will help you to pick the right size for this bandana cowl, but by the way also for the Moin head that just came out in Making Stories. That's the magazine behind me. It's a kind of companion pattern. They work very well together, and it also helps you to alternate especially head knitting patterns to your desired length. I feel like there are not many designers talking about this. I know a lot will teach you how to measure your circumference to pick the right size, but nevertheless how to build up this length so you can make it either slouchy or super short if you like to wear that, and how to make that all right with the crown together. I'm going to teach you that in the first video of the series. Now we talked about your yarn choice, and the last one, number 3, will come out soon, and that one will teach you how to swatch for the bandana cowl, and also for generally bandana cowls, other patterns too, because you will always have to swatch flat and in the round. I think this is a great benefit because you will always learn how to knit a new stitch pattern if it's new for you, both variations, but it also means you should swatch both variations. And we're going to use this swatch just to learn Fisherman's rib, flat and in the round. I think that's awesome. I hope you too will like that and join me on it. So one more reason to sign up to this channel, and I would recommend to get on my Friday letters list too, because I send out generally every Friday a letter to you. People who are already on it say that it's like having a coffee chat with me. They really love it. It's my way. It sounds maybe strange, but my favorite way to build up my community. Absolutely right. I love writing my Friday letters, and at the moment I even write some more, and I will also send out one when the next video is ready for you. So don't miss out. I'm gonna put the link to sign up for it here down in the show notes. Alright, have a nice day. Happy knitting. See you soon.